Hello, welcome to the Snap UK. We're here at Chateau Paul, and there's four of us, so Gary's working or something. But I'm here with Paul, with Griff, with Jim. I'm Johnny Fresh. I haven't said that in a while.
You've got to drop that name, man.
I do, yeah.
You know, wow.
Yeah, I'm just...
You can get cream for it.
Yeah.
Johnny Fresh.
That's right.
But yeah.
You know.
But yeah, it's Super Bowl week. So...
It's Super Bowl week, and we could not be less excited.
Yeah, it's a problem.
I think...
Go on, try and convince yourself you're excited.
Oh no,
about this
I'm excited for the game because it is the Super Bowl, and I think it is the most intriguing Super Bowl we've had for ages. I like. We'll get into it, but I flipped either way.
You've gone both ways.
Yeah, and I'm happy with both. I've enjoyed them both. I'm still, out there making my mind. I need to experience more both ways. But before I finally, tell you which way I prefer.
Settle on a position.
Exactly.
But double up.
Yeah. I'm currently sitting on the fence.
I hear you like the team that rams it down the middle.
I mean, I don't know where to go from there.
He's
yeah.
choked. Unbelievable.
No, I think this is the most...
Dick takers. That was last week's joke.
Dick takers.
Dick takers.
That
There you
was
go.
it, yeah.
Couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, how was your mum?
So I think that it's the most intriguing game we've had for a while. I don't see there's people keep telling me, oh, the Chiefs are favourites with the bookies, but I have listened to some podcasts this week. Everyone's gone Eagles.
But
Everyone.
Is that because everybody wants the Eagles to win, or because they think the Eagles
they
will
do.
win?
I think they think the Eagles will win.
I don't want the Eagles to win. I want Saquon to win.
That's the
what
same thing.
I know. But that's my decision-making process.
One can't be right without the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll get into. We will do our predictions at some point, but how do we see this game going? It's.
I think you've got to break it down into each of the constituent parts of each team because actually they're very closely matched across the board. So you can start with coaching and work your way through the team, and you get to a position where you can justify one or the other winning. If you look at the head coaches in isolation, you'd have to say Andy Reid is the better head coach.
There's no contest
No,
there.
there really isn't. Yeah. You should give Nick Sirianni masses of praise for the fact that he's here and doing the job, and the Eagles have been brilliant. Yeah.
Second Super Bowl in 4 years.
3 years.
Or 3 years.
Yeah.
He's been here 4 years.
But, so he's done everything that's been asked of him, bar win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you've got Andy Reid, who's done this over and over and over again, not just with the Chiefs, but also with the Eagles being the irony.
Yeah, other than winning the Super Bowl.
Other than winning the Super Bowl.
The Nick Sirianni job.
But if you want to take it piece by piece, and the first piece is the coaching, you've got to give the coaching accolade to the Chiefs.
I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that. I think the more interesting conversations when you go down a level, when you start talking defensive coordinators, because I think both Fangio and Spagnola.
I think my mum plants them in her garden. Spagnolias.
A lot of mum jokes today.
We've barely touched the surface, just like your. Never mind.
Defensive coordinators. These are the best two defensive coordinators in the league at the moment, I think.
I think consistently over the past, as long as I can remember, Spagnolo's been consistently good for years. I mean, if they win, won't this be his 6th or 7th?
I don't actually know how many he's got.
Because he was the Giants DC, wasn't he? When we beat the Patriots.
And we're good.
What?
Which time?
Both, I believe.
Both times.
Hopefully.
He is a 4-time Super Bowl winner.
There you go.
It's fifth.
He's coming up to his fifth.
It's two failed head coaches proving the adage that sometimes this is as good as you are. Stick in your lane. They're earning plenty of money, being brilliant at what they do. If either of them are offered another head coaching job, I'm not sure they should take it.
I'm not sure they would, though. Either.
I think Fangio got a rough ride in Denver.
Absolutely got a rough ride in Denver.
He did, but you look at his reputation now compared to after he just finished at Denver. Like now he's seen as like almost like a god of defense. He's seen as that Wade Phillips type
Yeah.
kind of background. And actually Wade Phillips is another great example. Shit head coach, great defensive coordinator.
Both in their late 60s as well. It's like it's
Something
not
to be
like
said
Pete
for
Carroll.
experience.
It's not like Pete Carroll though,
Yeah.
where it's a recent experience of head coaching was decent. It's
Yeah, I'd agree. When you look down, the coaching trees get tighter together. I don't think you can. I don't think you can put a what do they call a fag paper between
I don't think he can.
the
then
two defensive coordinators.
I guess if you
Spag
look at
Spag paper.
if you look at the personnel they're working with, I'd probably give the edge to the Eagles. I think they've
In
got-
terms of their actual defenses.
yeah, well, just in terms of the people on the event, I think they've got more star quality players. On
So the Chiefs are Chris Jones plus,
yeah,
I think
And the
that's
Eagles are-
so unfair.
of
They-
course,
it is
but in
unfair,
comparison to the
obviously. Yeah.
Eagles,
The Eagles have a lot of. I think Harry Roseman deserves more credit for the way the Eagles are structured than anything else. But that Chiefs defense is
it's got
very.
it has got them to this point in the season.
We've got a team that could be going for a three-peat here, and that somehow that defense is underrated.
It's true.
the whole team is.
Chris Jones is just so much better. He's the best. He's the best defensive player on the pitch this coming weekend. And Trent McDuffie, brilliant. Nick Bolton,
Kalafdis.
Kalafdis, they're great. They're great because they've got Chris Jones. He creates so much chaos.
Oh, I agree with you, but you've seen a lot of defenses which have had one great player.
But if you took
Suck a dick.
if you took the best player out of each of these defenses, the Eagles would then be clearly better.
Yes.
Oh, I
Because
agree.
if you took Chris Jones away from the Chiefs, they would fail to live up to what the rest of them could
But
do.
I don't know if Fangio could do what Spagnuolo's done with that defense.
I don't think the Eagles have that. They have a lot of very good players. They don't have a
One star.
one star.
And also, they've got a lot of players who.
Young players. I think there's only 3 starters from the defense that played in the last Super Bowl.
Oh, really?
I think there's only 5 players in the Eagles
whole,
team
yeah.
that were from
So to
from
pull-
from the Patriots game, and I think it's only a few from the there's been a huge churn.
So to Paul's point, he's absolutely right. Harry Roseman deserves a lot of credit for turning that around. And you think about the Eagles, that last Super Bowl they played, that was on the offense. Yeah, it had a good defense, but not a stellar defense. That was more on what can we do with the offense, and Jalen Hurts was the key figure. I don't think we're not seeing any real buzz about Jalen Hurts in media week so far. It's been all about Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, and Saquon Barkley. Not necessarily in that order, but not very far off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
and
pretty
Jameis-
much everything.
And Jameis
And Jameis, yeah, of course.
wandering around as he should. He should be just let free with a GoPro on his head. And I just want to watch that live stream.
I know what Chris Jones's favourite colour is now, so I'm very happy.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's I think it's the 5th youngest defense in the league. The
Yeah, I
Eagles.
believe it.
Last year they were the 3rd oldest. So
Wow.
the churn they've gone through to get here, but they might not have the star power of Chris Jones, but in a couple of years, Jalen
Yeah, I
Carter
was going to
could
say
be
Jalen Carter could be that
could
star.
be that guy.
Yeah.
But that, when you get to the end of their rookie contracts, you won't be able to keep Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalen,
I know, but that's
Nakobe Dean, all
I
these
know.
great
Yeah, yeah.
rookies.
and that's fine. That's fine. But they're here now.
I agree with you, yeah.
I mean, Slay's already said this is his last game as an Eagle.
I never like it when players do that.
Well, I think it's a contract thing to
Yeah.
say, I don't want to leave, but I don't have a contract. And what happens is generally, somehow, despite the fact that quarterbacks are so good, quarterbacks are so spare in the league. No one pays the good ones, and they end up back at the Eagles.
But they do that. They've gone through that running back situation with contracts, haven't they? Where one gigantic contract went to the position and it ruined it for everyone.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they need a sack one for the cornerback market.
Patrick Surtain.
Patrick Surtain might, but I don't see Patrick Surtain hitting free market.
No, I don't either.
So he'll be just kept.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's coming from. It might be one of these Eagle ones.
So the stat that came out this week was Barkley, in terms of guaranteed money, would be the 27th highest paid wide receiver in the league. That's how underpaid running backs
There's
are.
some bad wide receivers ahead of him.
Yeah.
I think
Robert Woods.
Not far off. Gabe Davis.
Oh God.
Yeah.
that is the thing that I know it's a passing league and everything, but the money that's gone to subpar fucking wide receivers.
You say it's a passing league. I do agree with that. But the teams that have success are the teams that can run the ball.
Yeah.
Like you look at all the 49ers' success over the last few years, it's off the back of a running game and a passing game which is adequate at best. Philadelphia this year, Kansas this year, like production they've got out of Kareem Hunt and Pacheco when he's been fit, that's helped them get over the line. They've not had the big plays which we usually associate with them. We've not even had plays to Travis Kelce half the time.
Yeah.
A lot of it has come off the running game, and same with the Ravens. The Bills have had a better running game this year. All the good teams have good running games. It's absolutely essential. So yeah, to your point, if you've got a star like Saquon Barkley, you should be paying him.
Yeah,
Giants.
Well, but yeah, you don't have to do what the Rams did. The Todd Gurley contract killed running back.
Yeah.
Well, the Zeke contract killed running backs.
I think the Gurley one. Was so bad. Like Zeke at least did most of his contracts. Gurley, like they signed him like 2 years early, didn't they? Gave him ridiculous money.
I think that's because they knew they were going to have to pay Goff as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It was a calculated risk that hits they fit, and then they'd have to kind of re-up Goff.
So
yeah.
In terms of calculated risk, and we mentioned Gabe Davis is earning more than Saquon.
Yeah.
I'd like to play a little game of how many yards did Gabe Davis get this season in the 10 games he played.
Is it the Jags?
He is at the Jags.
I'm going to go
412.
306.
You're all too high. Oh, fuck. 239 yards.
Wow. How many receptions?
20.
20 receptions.
I mean, it wasn't a good year, but then everyone on the Jags was rubbish. So
Apart from Brian Thomas.
Apart from Brian Thomas. Sure. The caveat.
That is
That should be his new nickname, by the way. The caveat. Yeah.
That needs to stick. Yeah.
So you're telling me he's doing better than Big Game Gabe?
Yeah.
According to his Wikipedia page.
Really?
Yeah. When he was at the Bills, that playoffs is it? What was the
playoff-
season?
yeah,
not
the-
last season. The season before
Yeah,
last.
yeah.
He was big game.
He was great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he actually scored.
Yeah.
He actually got more yards receiving in that postseason than he did this
Yeah.
current season.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I can believe.
But yeah. So, who do you think? So we've mentioned Chris Jones and Carter. Who else are going to be the game winners? Obviously, let's not. We don't have to talk about the quarterbacks, but
Well, the side judge, the back judge.
fuck you.
Can I go for a really obvious one, but it is backed by data?
Go on.
Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Because the last two games, tight ends have taken the piss out of the Eagles. Like Zach Ertz got a load of yards in the championship game. Tyler Higbee for the Rams got a load of yards when they beat him in the divisional round. Travis Kelce's obviously he and Mahomes have got this magical connection. He's been there before. He's done it. I think the Eagles are susceptible just at that second layer, and his ability just to effectively find space, ignore the game plan and just find space, and then Mahomes to find him. I think that will make a huge difference. I think if one of the quarterbacks or Saquon is an MVP, then I think he's a good shout.
Anyone here? Game winners or game potentially weak spots?
I would like to bring in, and forgive me because I can't remember his name now. I've said it.
Great.
It's the wideout that Xavier Worthy. Thank you. I had Xavier Wilson in my head, and I was like, I know it's not Wilson. Xavier Worthy, because when you look at, when Kadarius Toney had a Super Bowl scoring touchdown,
It's a good shout.
Super Bowl winning.
Jesus. Yeah, I
They
think
did two.
He's got two, yeah.
Yeah, they did 2 touchdowns when they beat the Niners.
Yeah.
so. I think Worthy is the type of player who could bring that magic play out of nowhere.
You are seeing more from him in the off-season as well. They've got more plays designed for him in the running game as well.
I think when they signed Worthy, I think they expected a quiet first year because or what he is, he's but he is effectively McCole Hardman, but better.
He's McCole Hardman with Tyreek Hill on the
Yeah.
horizon. He can still
Oh,
see
but
he's not obviously not there yet.
But as soon as Mahomes broke Rasheed Rice's ACL, suddenly they had to change tack. I think they have spared Kelsey this season. They've not had him. They've not used him a lot at all, really, through the rest of the season. I think Worthy is going to... If they win, I think it might be... Worthy's going to be busy.
I'll point out two things. So, neither kicker has been amazing this season. Jake Elliott was only 77%, I think, on field goals. Harrison Butker was 84% and missed time as well. The Chiefs had 3 kickers, but Butker is back. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's quite an offensively led game that comes down to somebody missing a kick and it's 33-30 because somebody missed a kick. That's my first thing. The second thing is, you said quarterbacks aside, but I've been willing myself to root for the Eagles because if the Chiefs get a three-peat, we have to concede that it might be the greatest team we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I don't want to concede that yet because at the moment I can still claim the Patriots. But Patrick Mahomes threw a lot of interceptions this season. And I just think on the day, that could be the difference. If the turnover battle goes to the Eagles, if they can pick off Mahomes twice, they'll win the Super Bowl. Because they're not going to do it off the back of their own quarterback. He's not actually been that explosive this season. He's been a bit better in the playoffs. But
In the last game.
But
has he needed to be? And I think that's the difference.
But he only threw 18 touchdowns in 17 games in the regular season. The numbers are just not there.
But he's had a 2,000-yard running back.
Absolutely. But do you not think the Chiefs are going to concentrate everything on Saquon? They're going to make Hurts win the game.
I think that's the way the Chiefs do.
The Chiefs have to go for that. And equally, I think the Eagles, they're going to have to do their best with Kelsey, but they're going to have to make Patrick Mahomes make mistakes. They're going to have to force him into throwing hero balls.
Yeah.
And hope that they can pick him off.
I think that's what Fangio's really good at. He's good at
disguising that,
but also like in making sure that the opposition remain patient and like having those little underneath throws. At some point, Mahomes, there's going to be a level of impatience, or they're going to be chasing the game, and he's going to have to go for it. I think that's where
at some point Fangio will bring that disguised blitz.
Yeah,
and it will be whether or not Mahomes negotiates that or gets absolutely shoved into the floor. Because don't forget, he's not. Maybe, but he's also not immune to injury.
Yeah,
we've seen him play through them, but at some point he is not going to bounce off the floor, and I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
especially if the Eagles get behind. I think they will bring the house and hope to either, knock him out of the game for a few plays or pick him off. Really do. Negative it might seem, but
mine's even more negative because my game changer.
Yeah,
I think he's Joe Tunney, who is a guard playing at left tackle. He's very good at playing left tackle. I don't think he's come up against anything like this Eagles team, this Eagles rush.
That's a really good point.
And if you look at the opposing offensive line, every team would take Mailata. Lane Johnson's.
Well, like we were earlier, we were breaking it down. The Eagles O-line is better than the Chiefs.
Cam Jurgens in center's been fine, and turns out Mekhi Becton might be one of the best guards in the league when he's fit, and who'd have thought it? But I just think you saw earlier this season, and that's when Mahomes was throwing picks. That it's because it wasn't working. They moved Tunney out to left tackle, and they signed I think Humphreys for
DJ Humphreys
out of nowhere, and
on the basis that the Eagles do bring a lot of pressure through the middle, do they think about moving him back into left guard and saying, all right, we'll take the risk of DJ Humphreys at left tackle, but we'll make sure that that front, centre of the line is absolutely solid.
Will be an in-game change if it happens.
Yeah, probably.
You remember Super Bowl?
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, he contained Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
So you don't. He's made good defenses and good defensive players look silly. I think it's a great shout because
it's just because he's playing slightly out position at the moment.
Yeah,
I trust him. I trust Tunney because the guy's got the rings. The guy's got the rings to prove it.
Yeah,
you do like a man with a ring, though, don't you?
I do. But yeah, I don't. I see people keep saying, "Oh, if you go by the stats this year," and I think I have to say, the stats this year, I think for anything for the Chiefs, if it was beyond Christmas Day, it doesn't count. They were trying stuff. They were getting the line in order. They were working out, well, what can we do with Xavier Worthy? They had effectively the number one seed pick, wrapped up because other teams just kept losing games. I don't think they've not been that good this year, but they do what they do to win, and it's on the fucking Bills and the Ravens that they had to go through our head, and it
was the same every year with the Patriots. It was the same every year.
Yeah.
They'd get to November before they'd be any good.
Exactly.
We would lose some stinkers at the start of the season every year. On to Cincinnati every year because we'd get blown out by somebody and we'd only score 6 points.
And it'd be it's a downfall of Brady.
And then, oh no, here he comes again.
Yeah. So, and in the postseason, Mahomes has been
lights out.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Just nearly perfect.
On that basis, I know the Eagles have been to Super Bowls, but how much, I guess, extra oomph do you give the Chiefs just because they've been there and won the Super Bowls?
Yeah.
And lost one as well, of course.
Yeah, have lost, but I think
that experience probably counts for maybe an extra point or 2 points or whatever.
Possibly. I think I know Mahomes has sort of changed this year. He's not he's not a game manager. He's just adapting to what is in front of him. And
game manager is such a... People use that as a derogatory term.
Isn't it?
Tom Brady was brilliant, but in 50% of the games every season, he was just managing the game.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is just managing the game for the Eagles. Patrick Mahomes is managing the games brilliantly for the Chiefs. It's players like Josh Allen. Josh Allen's not a game manager. He's a hero ball player, and it works really well until it doesn't.
Yeah.
But you get that spike, and then you get the crash.
You get the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows.
And that's it.
Yeah.
But the game manager slur comes from
Alex Smith.
Yeah. No, even before that. Because the guys who were winning the Super Bowl in the 90s were your Brett Favre, who was throwing it 80 yards, your Joe Montana, who wasn't ever game managing.
Yeah.
No.
Was this exciting, dynamic offense. You look at the Super Bowl champions
Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson.
From 2000 onwards, a lot of these aren't exciting players.
Alex Smith was the one that became, he was a number one pick and he became the ultimate game manager. But the point is, the last 7 years of his career, he went to the playoffs in every year that he wasn't crippled.
Yeah.
And the things he did for the teams that he joined and turned them around by being a good game manager. Now, Patrick Mahomes is on a different level. No, I'm not making a like for like. I'm just saying the game manager tag is these days not the derogatory term that it was.
No.
Geno Smith has just made himself another 2 or 3 year viable quarterback in the league by being a really good game manager for the last 2 years for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
It works because players can now be so explosive in other ways because it's a passing league and it's easier to get penalties and whatever. You don't need Brett Favre.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Brett Favre is closer to what Will Levis is. Now, again, not a like for like, but that's what Levis is trying to be.
Really,
no, I mean, they're both...
Not like for like at all.
No, but you know what I'm saying? That's what Levis is trying to be.
Yeah. You say, other than wins, they both like to throw the ball. They're both insane.
I would have gone Brett Favre, Jameis Winston.
Sure, again, fine. But that's the point. Is maybe the
Same
league
comparison.
doesn't quite work like that anymore. You've got to manage
a lot
it.
less likable.
You've got to manage it.
But yeah,
You've got to know which player is going to draw penalties.
yeah, and it's they know they play to the rules and everything, but yeah, we haven't seen Mahomes have to chuck it 60 yards sidearm because they haven't needed to. It might it'd be nice if they do win by slinging it.
Always what fascinated me that we never got to see was, would Andrew Luck have turned into the best game manager we'd never seen? Because he was slinging the ball, but his mental ability was way beyond what even Mahomes has. He was so good at picking everything up. He just got crushed all the time. But his mental ability, I saw the thing this week that was going around about him practicing his cadence to get teams to jump.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. Like, the guy in the studio was like, I just jumped offside. It was incredible how he practiced it. And John Gruden had said to him, like, I've never heard anyone be able to draw penalties like that. We Aaron Rodgers gets a lot of plaudits for it, but Luck would have been better if he just had more luck.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And an offensive line.
He's been gone for so long, and yet I missed the fact we never got peak Andrew Luck because we never saw what he could have been. Would have been amazing. Anyway, just
I was going
saying.
to say. Yeah.
How the hell have none of us put him forward for the Hall of Good?
I don't know actually.
But I think because we all have that soft spot for him where we think he's better than good.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but it's I don't know why I was going with it, other than the fact I think I trust the Mahomes' mentality. Like, literally, they were holding the Super Bowl trophy last year. Their first things we're going for free.
Oh, absolutely. Look, so the Jets, for instance, right? Here's the comparison you were making. The Jets, the Jets.
Just wonder where you're going for this.
And the Browns are another one. They are teams that lose. Oakland, not Oakland, Las Vegas.
Yeah.
They are teams that lose. It is in their mentality. It is in every crack in the wall, every bit of fungus that grows in their grass. They are losing franchises. The Chiefs used to be a losing franchise, found a way to win and have bottled that, like the Patriots did. The Patriots in the 90s were epically shit. And they got
to a Super Bowl.
They lost and then proceeded to go 3-13 2 years running.
They were really shit.
They were epically bad. Yeah. But it proves you can do it. But as much as we say, well, look, the Jets keep losing because it's a losing mentality. They just can't get out of their own way. The Chiefs are the opposite. It's winning mentality. Somehow they pull it off. It doesn't matter whether they fooled a ref or whatever. However you want to say that's happening. It's the same when the Patriots did it. We used to get penalties like nobody believed. And you'd all sit there and throw stuff at the screen and moan. And we're watching it happen again. And for me, it's the first time I've seen it because you cannot see it when it's your team.
You understand how frustrating it is.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But you cannot see it when it's your team. You're like, no, that's nailed on a penalty. And now, no. There is no conspiracy. It's just they're playing really well and they get the rub of the green because it's in the mentality.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think organisations that are built well win.
Yeah.
I think you can look at those franchises you mentioned and you can point to failures up and down the team, from playing staff up to ownership. There's failures, there's indecision, there's complete wrong decisions.
Yeah, this is why sometimes after a coach has been at a team for 5, 6, 7 years, even if they're having really good headway in the playoffs, if they're not getting to the championship, if they're not getting to the Super Bowl, where do you draw the line? So your Tomlins, your Harbaughs, your McDermotts, like at what point do you say, he's not like the Eagles waited too long with Andy Reid, right? He had 11 years, and they got to all those championship games in the NFC.
The example I always cite is the Bucks when they got rid of Dungy and they brought in John Gruden. Like, they were getting to the playoffs. They were getting to divisional and championship games. They just couldn't get to the Super Bowl.
No,
it's like, right, sorry, we really like you, Tony, but it's not working.
You're not a winner.
We're gonna have to bring someone else
because there's only one winner each season. Don't forget that. Yeah,
first season he comes in, magic happens.
Absolutely.
They've not done anything since, granted, but
one more Super Bowl.
That team didn't do anything since.
No,
But how did they get that? They bought the ultimate winner.
Yeah, that's it. You bought someone in the building who knew how to win, and that feeling permeates through the franchise. Fuck me, I've used a big word.
Yeah,
I need a rest. But that is how. And like the Chiefs, let's be honest, they are favourites for a reason. And that is the reason,
Yeah.
because they are winning mentality. The Eagles are a gamble. Now, the Eagles are a good gamble because Saquon. But if Hurts is forced to win the game,
Yeah.
I like it.
no, I don't like it.
But there are other parts of that team which I think if you had Devonta Smith is the second best receiver in that team. Right?
Yeah.
If he came to any one of our teams, we'd be delighted.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a hell of a player.
I think so.
There's some good. The receiving core for the Eagles
It's better.
is better than people give it credit for as well.
I think the Chiefs' receiving core is it's some of their parts, but you throw in the offensive calling into their parts as well.
Yeah.
And I think that makes it, that levels it up a bit. I don't see what the hype is with Kellen Moore as an offensive coordinator. Great, you've got a generational running back who's run for 2,000 yards. You should be getting to the Super Bowl. You should be getting to the playoffs.
Oh yeah, you've got a guy who was quarterback at Oklahoma and Alabama.
Yeah.
You've got two first round wideouts.
You've got a stellar offensive line. Like, yeah. If you drive the Lamborghini, you probably can drive faster than me in an S-Max.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you challenging Kellen Moore to a race?
Only if I can drive the Lamborghini.
Okay.
But the Ravens have Derrick Henry and Lamar and all, and they didn't get there. And Kellen Moore has just, he's just come from a game where they scored 7 touchdowns, and were they just tore Washington apart.
I'm not as harsh on Kellen Moore. I can see why there is some hype. He's done some really good things consistently, and that's what it's about in the league. Consistently, he's been one of the best 3 or 4 offensive coordinators.
Really?
Yeah.
I completely disagree with that.
Really?
Yeah.
If he was that good, he'd have had a head coaching job.
Maybe.
He's very young still, isn't he?
He is
but
very young.
but young isn't an issue, is it? When you look at some,
Sean McVay, but
maybe you look at some of the other
he had
coaches.
Cowboys job when the Cowboys were decent, they got rid of him.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah, but look
Chargers
at him this
job
year.
with Justin Herbert. That went nowhere. I don't think he's improved. He's certainly not improved Jalen Hurts' play. I think Jalen Hurts has regressed since last year.
But the team is better.
The team is better. I'm not denying
Offensively,
that.
the team is better. So
Yeah.
it's how much of that is on him and how much of it is on Sirianni
Or Roseman.
or Roseman.
But yeah, So, I'm going to ask you now. I want your Super Bowl winner and I want your MVP.
Is this who we want to win or who we think will
Who
win?
you think will win? I can tell you, I've got Gary's. He's gone with an Eagles win and Saquon is the MVP. He says if they win, it basically goes through Saquon.
I think that's right.
I agree. I will also take the Eagles and Saquon.
Paul.
Chiefs and Mahomes.
I am going, Chiefs and Mahomes. Not who I want to win, but who I think will win.
I'm going Chiefs and Chris Jones.
Not a chance on earth. He'd have to get a fumble and interception for a pick six.
Can you tell me he won't?
He doesn't give
No.
any interceptions.
But defensive players.
We've seen two since I've been
I
watching
agree
this.
with the principle of what Paul's saying. I think Chris Jones would have to wear Jalen Hurts' skin as a dress, but still, I wouldn't put it past him.
James Harrison as a linebacker caught an interception, ran 99 yards, and didn't get Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
I know, but I just think he might be the absolute game wrecker. And in a game that we're saying we might be very, very attacking, I think he might just be the difference.
No one's calling out the punters, no?
I mean, Matt Araiza is, what a punter.
Yeah.
I can't even think of the Philly one is.
Tommy Townsend.
No, it's Braden Mann.
Braden Mann.
I wouldn't have known either. I was just throwing it out
It's
there.
just in front of me. That's all.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah,
I think we're fairly split. I am willing the Eagles to win just because I think it will make it a better game. I've got nothing to look forward to at halftime. I couldn't care less about that crap again. And so,
As Duncan would say, so you're old then.
yes, I'm old. Yes, and that's fine. I'm okay with being
I own
old.
that.
But he's already done it once. It was crap the first time. And just anyway.
Just bring Shakira and J-Lo back.
yeah.
That was a good half.
Didn't we watch that with the sound off?
No, we watched it with the sound on. We didn't talk at all.
No one spoke.
No one in the room spoke a word during that halftime show.
Seems
The
fair.
only noise you could hear was the drip, drip, drip of drool.
Oh.
I heard some rustling.
Yeah. The fap of Perry.
Yeah, that was his drunk year,
That,
wasn't it?
that was one too many.
Was that his drunk year? Was that the year he...
No, that was
I don't know who
that
it was.
was the Patriots come 28-3, wasn't it?
Oh yes, God, that was Timberlake. Really boring.
It was that year. Drunk
Maroon
Bones swear.
5. Oh, God.
Tell me he wasn't watching Shakira and hearing the Waka Waka.
Harry, it's only the whack.
Yeah.
Big fan of Wackadoodle with Timmy Mammoth. What?
Anyway,
Should caveat, he was very drunk.
he was very drunk. What? Yeah. I'm
So
sorry
drunk.
to say I missed that car for journey. He's just
was-
slagging off the Patriots.
He just shouted at me the whole way home. Just the C-bomb.
As if it was your
the,
fault.
I know. All the way home. He must have said it 40 times.
That year you owned the Patriots.
And it's
I
so
was play calling, didn't you know?
so Steve as well. He just turned up with a bottle of whiskey and just drank it himself. God, cheap.
What are you trying to say? What stereotype are you trying to make?
I'm not saying he's a cheap bastard.
Okay, just checking.
So,
Laheim.
should we move on from the Super Bowl? We'll talk about it next week. And
Expect we
enjoy
will.
it.
I expect we will. Let's hope it's more exciting than I think it might be.
I think it'd be
Really
fine.
hope
I think
it's
it'd be-
It could be a really good game. It's just that we don't want either of these teams to win.
Yeah.
The downer for everyone.
This is, do you want to be shot or stabbed? Is it?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, shot, please.
Did you see the NFL have acquired the rights to free peak
Yeah,
from
that's
that
what-
bloke?
Did they? How much did they pay him for it?
Oh, is that the
It's the NBA guy.
Pat Riley?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
He
Wow.
sold the rights.
I think they've.
Or they jointly
I
invested
think
in
they
the
might have
rights.
loaned him the right.
Yeah, I think they've let him. Yeah,
He was making so much money out of that. I mean, fair play. But
Basically, they've allowed Taylor Swift to sit on his lap for the whole game.
anyway, moving on. That's one way to get a rise out of someone.
basically,
Got the worst photo possible. When you
gonna be
look up
great on the
articles
podcast.
about it.
Oh,
There's a guy who had Taylor Swift sitting on his lap at that time.
it's not great. The funniest thing would be if then the Eagles win and that costs him millions.
But he'll have already been paid because they would have had to pay him to print the merchandise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that was his point. He owned it for stickers, hats, T-shirts, etc. So they'll already have done that. And so there'll be a load of African kids wandering around for the next 10 years in three-peat shirts.
Yeah.
And he'll have made all his money out of it and he doesn't care.
No, fair enough.
What
So-
are we moving on to?
Should we talk about the trade requests and everything this week? So,
So, Paul, you're the closest thing I have to an NBA insider. Briefly explain the massive trade in the NBA this week, so then we can put into context what might happen in the
Like
NFL.
2 and a half hours to figure out.
Yeah, now you don't watch it at all, do you?
No, no interest.
I have
at all.
some, but I don't watch it as much as Paul. I think John's closer to Paul than I am.
I
I
love
think we're at the same level.
the NBA.
Yeah.
Right. And the difference with trading is you see a lot more trades that involve multiple teams
Yeah.
to make them work and do the math and everything else. Because if you think the contracts are crazy in the NFL,
Yeah.
the NBA
Supermax contracts.
the NBA is on crack. So Luka Doncic is an absolute stud.
He's 25?
Yeah, 25. Came into the league at 19, started playing basketball for Real Madrid at 16. Yeah, he's an absolute machine.
Well, they handball it. Oh, that's pretty ridiculous.
They have loads of sports teams, apparently. I only found this out.
Yeah.
So he came into the league, was drafted by Atlanta, but ended up going to Dallas. He's been...
Sorry, stop. Drafted by Atlanta, but went to Dallas. Is this like a John Elway thing?
No, it was a trade on the day.
Right, so it's like a Eli Manning thing.
Nobody refused to go anywhere, though. So, yeah, they traded him on... Yeah, so he ended up playing for the Mavericks. He's been a multiple-time All-Star. He's the All-Pro. If you were to...
You compared him to Josh Allen.
Yeah, he's not won the MVP.
Yeah.
But
But he's fucking good.
Like
he gets close every year. And he's the best in his position. So he was traded without being consulted, without being told, for a very good player who's a little bit older.
That's Anthony Davis.
AD, yeah.
Heard of him.
So Anthony Davis is a lot older, still a very good player, but not the same caliber.
Got an eyebrow.
Yeah,
Just the one.
he's good, but he's not Doncic level. There's a few other things in there, but it's absolutely mind-blowing because he was like the star of the franchise. And there's certain, like Josh Allen at the Bills, like Joe Burrow at the Bengals, certain things, Brady at the Patriots, certain things are immovable. They are part of the culture. The old owner of the Mavericks, Mark Cuban, who's been on like Shark Tank and loads of other stuff.
Yep.
He said he would rather divorce his wife than lose Doncic. New ownership came in last year.
Okay, I was going to say, how's that going?
And they've traded him, and Mark Cuban, who's still part of the ownership, is furious. So I made the point in our WhatsApp group, this has opened up how athletes think. Because we're used to football and soccer, you get your Fabrizio Romanos, your David Ornsteins, everything's out there, everything, you know the discussions. What made the Doncic trade so amazing is it happened. You didn't hear anything in advance.
Just
You got an NBA insider going, this trade has been processed.
It's provided the people are so confused about it now that everyone's assuming that the Mavericks who traded him must know something that means he's worth getting rid of.
Yeah, getting rid of. Yeah.
Right? He's injured or he's got
Isn't it to do with
Apparently, the rumour he's fat.
I did see something about him reporting overweight.
Yeah, so he has training practices that they don't necessarily subscribe to. Now he's saying, well, look, they got rid of everyone around me in the team that I liked, so I've just kind of been kicking back. The point is they've still been getting results with him. He's still been brilliant.
He's brilliant, yeah.
So he's not like Jamarcus Russell fat.
No, I mean, like him slightly overweight is still... I mean, he's not like one of these natural, like, six-pack built like a brick shithouse. He's a guy...
Jack O'Neal kind of.
He's a guy from Slovenia. Right.
What are you saying about guys from Slovenia? Because they would shit you up.
He's built like an Eastern European athlete.
Yes, yeah. The point is, it was all done without the agents, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was done in the background because they didn't want it leaking.
Yes.
So the clubs just spoke amongst
And
themselves.
there's 3 teams involved in this trade, right?
Yes.
Is it the Jazz as well?
Yeah.
They basically got nothing.
Yeah, it was a salary
yeah.
dump, wasn't it,
Yeah, I
effectively?
think so.
Or a salary acquisition.
So imagine, like, I'm going to get Myles Garrett, but wait a second, let me just ring up the Giants. Can I give you Osweiler? It's the thing that makes this changes. There's certain moments in sport and in terms of sports contracts that change the way people feel. The Juan Soto contract in baseball, the Mike Trout contract in baseball.
Deshaun Watson contract.
Yes. So there's certain things which just change the way players think. So I fully expected there to be fallout in the NBA and in the NFL because of the NBA, because of Doncic.
It was so funny. Was it Saturday night it happened?
Yes.
I can't remember. I text you like, what's going on?
But by the way, 4 people. I woke up to 4 people who text me because I'm a big Lakers fan. So
Now, I understood what was going on, so I didn't text you. But still, I was like, what? Mouth agape.
Because
I might have got a Bleacher Report request and gone, I don't know what that means, and ignored it.
I sort of was babbling because I follow Patrick Mahomes. And he commented, what the fuck?
Yeah. NFL players are shaken by this because, as I said when I came here today, everyone's an asset.
Yeah.
Everyone's an asset now.
The same thing can happen in the NFL. You can get traded unless you've got no trade clause, and rookies don't.
No,
You can get traded straight away.
you can. It just doesn't happen as much as it maybe will. Because this might open the door for players to push and teams to think outside of the box they get themselves into.
I sent you something on Instagram, Jim, earlier this evening. Probably you were
I don't
travelling.
think I've read it.
But there's a player in college who asked to be put into the transfer portal. The college refused him, so he unenrolled and enrolled at a new school. And the NCAA said, well, you're perfectly fine to do that. Nothing in our rules says you can't just leave the school and join a new one. So
It's fair. There's no contract involved, right?
So you're going to see lots of different changes, and I think you're getting to this almost kind of Bosman moment.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Bosman rule changed football contracts
What was that,
forever.
94, 95?
Yeah.
It changed the way contracts work. I think players in the NFL are coming to the realisation as well, looking at the NBA, for instance, that guaranteed money is where it's at. They want guaranteed money. They're going to want fully guaranteed contracts. They might accept less as an overall figure, but they're going to want all of it
I
guaranteed.
just don't think after the Deshaun Watson debacle, and remember when that happened, there was a lot of fallout at the ownership level of almost people kind of saying around to Jimmy Haslam saying, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, breaking the system.
There was a lot of chatter about the fact that a lot of other owners were really upset with the Browns about doing that.
Not the Texans somehow.
No. And that was coming up to when Lamar Jackson was due a contract as well. So I think the thinking there was,
Going to blow it out of the water.
yeah.
But
we haven't seen it yet.
But why is it going to be relevant? The answer is the NFL wants an 18-game season.
that's
And
true.
the Players' Union is going to say, you want an 18-game season, we want fully guaranteed contracts. And that is going to be the standoff.
Now, there's a few other things involved in this because the NBA has as good as guaranteed contracts. Jimmy Butler.
I've heard of him.
Yep.
If you watch Starting Five, also if you're not that big into the NBA, they do Media Day every season where they take their photos. And those are the photos that are used in stills whenever you see footage of them.
That's why I know him.
Jimmy Butler
Just takes the piss.
takes the piss. Had dreadlocks put on one year, had a goth haircut.
It would emo, didn't he?
Yeah. Really.
It's kind of like Marshawn Lynch doing press.
Yeah,
Before Super Bowls, it was just like, I'm here because I have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I give you some stuff to share on our Twitter account about him, which are hilarious. But he's essentially gone on strike. So there's fears now because he wants to be traded, and this was before Doncic. There was a fear that almost you're ruining the guaranteed contract because if you're not going to play, the team will look to move away from guaranteeing contracts. So there's sport contract law in the US is insane at the moment, and I love it.
It's really because we've had the change in NFL of rookies, because rookies used to hold out at the start of their rookie contract, and then now they hold out at year 3 and 4 when they want, because that's when
you start negotiating.
Start negotiating, so
You're going to see that change though, because I don't think you've seen the name image likeness really take effect in terms of players being drafted.
I don't think it has yet. I think you're right. I think you're starting to see that now with some of the college players. Arch Manning's a perfect example where you start to see it now actually where there are rookie quarterbacks who are getting paid less now than what they could have been earning in college.
There's the Quinn Ewers thing, isn't there, where he's doing another year in college because he's
coming to the draft.
Oh, is he coming to? I thought the rumor was he was doing another year because he was getting.
But that was the consideration. I think because he'd already moved schools once, he didn't want to again. And realistically, Texas are going to turn it over to Arch Manning next year, so he's now in the draft. His stock has fallen because of this season, because of Arch Manning playing, and I don't think he can afford to fall anymore.
Further to the NBA chat, Joel Embiid is the other name that's come up this week.
because he's
So Joel Embiid has been contracted for a total of 843 games with a guaranteed contract, and he has missed 400 of those games with injury and raked in $125 million during those 400 games.
Now, the first 2 years he was drafted, he didn't play. I will give him some credit.
But that was like Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, it's
Sam Bradford.
I think the thing that makes it hard with Embiid is that he's not playing the I think there's been a 2-game absence, and they were filming a practice, and he was doing headstands. the guy's insane.
I love Embiid.
Yeah, but he is a bit insane. But this is the downside of guaranteed contracts. But is it a downside, or is it just reward for the fact that these sports stars have a very limited career and they make billions of dollars for other people, and B, and just as importantly, you're effectively giving your lifestyle and your life choices to something that you don't have a say in. You and I can go and apply for any job. Like, really, Paul's just changed jobs.
Yeah, I applied for many jobs.
Yeah, but you could have chosen another career. You could have chosen to move to a different part of the country off your own back. You are giving up that freedom, and that should be rewarded as such. Like,
no, I can be traded to another financial institution for the right price. That's fine.
but it just, like, for what they give up, sometimes not enough is made of that. Like, we all moan when footballers get these insane salaries. Sure, I'm not trying to justify some of it. It's nuts. But within the context of the industry they are in, and especially in the NBA, it's fractional.
Oh, but also the viewership and the attendance figures are declining. So, well, the NFL
is on the up.
Yep.
Anyway,
and
Myles
yet,
Garrett.
Yeah, Myles Garrett. So this gets us to Myles Garrett. So Myles Garrett has asked to
tune
be
in next week
traded.
for contract talk.
He's basically come out because the week before, the GM of the Browns, Andrew Berry, said we envisage Myles Garrett going from Cleveland to Canton. He's going to be here for his whole career. And Myles Garrett has come out and said, I don't want to go from Cleveland to Canton. I want to stop off at the Super Bowl. Get me out of Cleveland. He's been very nice about it and said how much he loves being there.
To be fair, and you've got to be fair to him, he's been very professional through a lot of downs and a couple
His
of
first year
ups.
there, they won no games.
Yeah.
He's
had one really good season and then one season with Joe Flacco.
And this is a player who deserves an opportunity to at least compete for a Super Bowl, which I don't think he has at the Browns. And it's a bit like Matt Stafford when he said, look, I have given everything to Detroit and I am the passing yards leader and the touchdowns leader and I've played out of my skin and I'm not getting anywhere and I'm really sorry, but I'd like to go. And he won a Super Bowl.
I think that's a really good comparison.
That is the comparison because it was about the same amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is, we chatted about it on our WhatsApp group. I think this is where the Browns can either revert to type and be arseholes about it, or they can try and re-establish themselves as
what was given up for Khalil Mack? 2 first-round picks?
Yeah, 2 first-round picks.
It's not going to be that because Khalil Mack was a couple of years younger. And just don't... Myles Garrett's impactful, but I don't think he's going to warrant 2 first-round picks for a defensive.
See, I think Myles Garrett is... I think it's the same level.
I think there's been a deflation in the amount of picks that get traded for good players now. I think that's come down from
But it'll be at least one first round.
I think it'll definitely be a first round pick and something else. Whether that's a player or a third or a fourth.
Because Cleveland need quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, they need quite a few things, really.
Yeah, they do.
Need
But basically, he is worth considerable assets.
I think if you're the Bills, if you're the 49ers, if you're any
competing
team that probably couldn't afford to have his contract on your roster.
Yeah, potentially.
And therein is the problem.
I mean, it's cap space, and we all know what that's all about. But if you're right on the edge of winning a Super Bowl, then he's the player. It's like Reggie White when he went to the Packers all those years back.
Yeah,
like he gets you over that line because he's that good a player. He's that impactful a player. Like if he goes to the Cowboys, he's wasted.
I like the Bucks or the Broncos for it. I think he'd be brilliant on either of those.
The Bills or the Commanders.
Commanders, I was about to say.
Yeah.
the Commanders would be a hell of a shout.
I mean, one pundit, I was watching YouTube yesterday, and one pundit was like, if he goes to Commanders, he's getting 30 sacks with Dan Quinn.
30.
That's a lot, but you wouldn't want him out getting 20, 22,
No,
breaking the
He's
record.
playing the Giants twice.
Yeah, exactly.
The other constituent component to this is, yes, he wants to win, or he certainly wants to be allowed to compete, which I don't think any of us sitting at this table think the Browns are winning the Super Bowl in the next 5 years. Now, I know things change, but come on. No one.
No.
I would see the Giants get there before the Browns right now, right? The other thing is, I don't think he likes Deshaun Watson and the way that franchise is being led to believe in Deshaun
I
Watson.
think you're absolutely
I
right.
think he's saying, look, I'm a leader. I've put up with it. I've controlled the locker room, but this guy is toxic. I'd like to go now. He's been so professional about it. If the Browns don't trade him, he should just pull a Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
Just say, I'm retiring.
Yeah, solid.
Trade me.
I mean, look, I'm no cartographer. I didn't do very well at geography.
I'm sorry,
bullshit.
you're not a
wondering
cartographer.
where that was going.
Well,
I've been telling everyone he's a fucking cartographer.
me too. I've been sending people to get maps drawn and all sorts of shit.
I'm not.
Change the profile on the.
I'm not an American. I don't make maps. But if I'm going from Cleveland to Canton, it's only 59 miles.
Not far. Yeah.
Yeah, Canton is in Ohio, yeah.
It just seems Myles Garrett's trying to make this awkward. Just throw it out there.
I thought we'd get the word cartographer.
I
I know.
That's amazing.
It is a shame that the Bengals are in the same division as them because the Bengals were the other obvious one where like they need defense.
Never happening.
But that's never happening.
But I can
Not
see,
unless you
I can see
not unless
why
there's
he
a
wants.
free-team trade and
Yeah.
someone fucks over the Browns, which would be hilarious.
But the Browns can again rebuild their roster with a first, a couple of thirds, or a first, a second, and a player. Like that's what they need to do. They need to swallow this and go, okay, we're not winning anyway. He's not making the difference on that team.
Do you know
But he
what?
makes a difference on 25 other teams.
I think the Falcons turn around and go, "Do you want Kirk Cousins in a second?"
Do you want Kirk Cousins though? I don't think that's enough.
Probably not.
I
That's
think
why I threw it- that's
he
why I threw it in
might
the
be
second as well.
done. Kirk Cousins might be done.
Yeah, but
If you gave me Kirk Cousins and a first, but
yeah, actually, because of his contract, probably Kirk Cousins in a first.
Kirk Cousins and a first, because Kirk Cousins is not playing for the Falcons next year.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They've got a tradable asset there,
Yeah.
and the Falcons.
But
are
why
one
on
of those teams
earth would
need
he
help.
want to go to the Falcons?
He doesn't really have a choice.
And that's the problem. He doesn't have the ability to say no.
But yeah, I mean,
I think
Doncic lucked out because Doncic is playing for the most celebrated franchise
I
with LeBron.
really hope the Browns are going to do the right thing
so do I.
by their player, because the Lions showed.
Haslam won't do the right
I know,
thing.
but the Lions showed people, what was it, 5 years ago now, the right way to conduct this. When your star player comes to you and says, please, can I go? They were impeccable about that. They said to him, name us some teams, we'll go and talk to them. And he said, these are my 3 teams I want you to talk to. And within 2 days or whatever, the Rams had gone, yes, please, we'll have him. What would you like? And Goff went the other way. And look, everybody, that's one of those, I don't know, there's about
Everyone
5
won.
trades in our
Everyone
lifetime
won,
where
yeah.
everyone
Everyone
wins.
won, yeah.
That was incredible how that worked out.
Yeah.
And the Browns theoretically could do something similar with Myles
Yeah,
Garrett,
absolutely
because Kirk Cousins, to your point, doesn't have anywhere to get back into the NFL right now.
Yeah.
His career could be resurrected, and they'd probably be better off with him than they have been. So they could do the right thing, but it's the Browns.
You just know they're going to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And they're going to make themselves hated even more because everyone loves Myles Garrett
Yeah.
because he is such a good guy. Like, when does he ever cause controversy?
He did it
Now.
a bloke with an helmet.
yeah.
And yet everyone still fucking loves him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
Was it Mason Rudolph?
I hit Mason Rudolph with his own helmet.
That's what I'm saying. He's literally physically
He's
assaulted someone.
He's doing what we all want to do.
He
On
beat
the
a
field of
quarterback
play.
with his own helmet.
Exactly. Yeah.
But even when it happened, we were like,
Yeah.
there's Myles
Mason
Garrett.
Rudolph. Yeah. Fair enough. So the other big trade news was that the Rams are exploring trades to offload Cooper Kupp.
I don't think they're exploring trades. I think they're just like, they won't want him.
Yeah.
Like the opposite of Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
And my,
We are trading you.
my initial reaction was,
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp. And then I thought, well, yeah, but he's barely been on the field for
Good. Yeah.
3
Since the
years.
Super Bowl, really.
Yeah, and like he's still a really good player, but he's a really good player. He's not a great player.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
And
He's a WR2.
I don't know if he is.
But
I think he's somebody's really good I think he's somebody's Danny Amendola now. is
but
what I think
he
is.
could be the Wes Welker to the Randy Moss.
Absolutely.
That's what I see.
Yeah. I can't see him being traded because he's so much money.
But the Rams have said they will take on some of the money.
I
didn't have to.
And
Again,
again,
I think what will happen is he'll get cut.
maybe, but I think if anyone comes in with anywhere near decent offer and Kupp likes it, I think they'll talk.
They will honour.
Because I don't think the Rams will just shit on him either.
But who was his roommate at college?
Oh, fuck should I know? I'm not a cartographer.
Well,
I
luckily,
think you're confused with what cartographers do.
luckily, as a student housing officer myself,
Me, the 13th Duke of Wimbledon, here in the student girls' housing office, 3 o'clock in the morning, with my reputation. What were they thinking?
his best mate is Jared Goff.
Yeah.
That's worth considering.
He'd be good on the Lions as well.
It's his,
But-
he was his roommate at college.
I can see it.
I can see that.
but
Providing the Rams eat some of the salary.
I think they'll have to. They'll have to get rid of it because as soon as people know that this is in the air, they'll wait.
The thing connected to that, or a story I read today, is apparently Matt Stafford's wife's really pissed off with the Rams about it because they're very close to the Cubs.
Yeah, but that's when you can't mix personal with business.
No.
In terms of business, he hasn't really been delivering for 3 years.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all there, but that creates the influence of what happens with Matt Stafford, which we've already had
He might retire anyway.
We've already had a few question marks over that.
He might well go anyway. They can't build anything around that. What they need to do is get clarification separately from Stafford. Are you staying or not?
Yeah.
Now, I think he'll stay for another year, but I think he probably is only one more year.
I think you're right.
I think they need to plan.
They need to start planning. I think they should be drafting a quarterback.
It may
pretty
well
high.
be that they do.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if the Rams, if they get the opportunity to take a quarterback in the draft in the first or second round.
Jackson Dart.
What's wrong with Stetson Bennett?
He just isn't.
it.
He's not. Yeah.
That's what
He's not the quarterback you plan around.
He's a serial winner. He has one.
No, he won a holiday on a cereal box. That's like, I don't know. He just doesn't have the physical traits to be.
I think if he was good, I don't think there'd be as many question marks about Matt Stafford because I think he'd be gone.
Fair enough.
They obviously don't like what they see.
It's just sometimes you see somebody in the room, and they're.
It's not like with other backups though, where you've been hearing for 2 years. Yeah, he's training. He's ready to come in, like Jordan Love. He's going to be. It's just not happening.
Yeah, but they didn't draft Bennett in the first round, did they?
No, that's true. But I mean, I'd be happy to see him play, but I don't think he's the long term. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it changes the dynamic, but it's for Stafford to decide, and I think he's got one more year left, especially if he can see that they're building the team for another real assault. If he sees them start trading away pieces and not replacing them and not moving the team forward, then why would you stay?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
I think at the moment as well, he's angling for a contract, isn't he? He's basically all his guaranteed money's gone. So I think if he wants to stay a year, it will have to be a new contract to facilitate that. But yeah.
Also, they're building some good. They're building a great defense there.
Yeah, they've shown that actually they can draft really well. Like they just didn't want to do that in the early stages.
F them picks.
But yeah, no, I think but I think they do need to start planning. Stafford is what, 37?
Yeah, I mean, he's on there.
He was drafted in 2009.
Yeah. And he got beaten up for years. So, but then I love him. I think he's great. And he on his highs, he's still great. He's just they're not
Brilliant player.
Oh, he's been great. But even last year, remember that Bills game? Like I think both teams scored over 40 points, and he was fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like on his day, he's still brilliant. He's getting older, But he's I don't think there's a need for him to retire. Anyone else?
Raiders have hired Chip Kelly as their offensive coordinator.
Yay!
So we're basically seeing the NFL version of Wild Hogs happen in the Oakland Raiders coaching room.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it.
So Wade Phillips is coming back at DC. Rex Ryan's coming in as a defensive assistant.
Let's not rule it out. Scarnecchia is coming back offensive line.
Yeah, take it.
Oh, Jesus.
They're trying.
Jesus is actually the defensive back coordinator.
They're trying to resurrect Bum Phillips as well. Like they're using alchemy and whatever to try and get him back. It's incredible. But yeah, no. Should we take a break and we'll come back for the Hall of Good?
Yes.
Okay, welcome back. We are now going into the Hall of Good. And Jim, do you want to pitch what we're doing here? Because we are pitching to Michael today.
Michael, how very formal.
Michael.
It's the cunt at the end of the table.
Yeah, Judge Michael. Shit.
I plan to.
Yeah. you do constantly.
You're short, your hair's rubbish, you're crap at your job. Keep going.
But what about judging you?
And you two have quite finished it on domestic at the end of the So this week, all are good. It's Super Bowl week, as we've been discussing.
Is it?
Yeah, I know. It would be too easy for us to say who are the best Super Bowl teams to win the Super Bowl.
Is that easy?
That's just boring.
It is boring.
It's boring, yeah, I agree with that.
So, being the Hall of Good and seeing the Hall of Good is all about traditionally rewarding those players who are not quite good enough to get into the Hall of Fame. We're nominating Super Bowl losing teams. The best Super Bowl teams that didn't win the Super Bowl.
So, you're the judge, Michael.
I am.
Gary's not here today, but do you want to take us through his submission?
So, Gary submitted the 1984 Miami Dolphins. So, the Dolphins, they were with second-year quarterback Dan Marino. And in this season, Marino had pretty much set every quarterback record going at the time. He passed for 5,084 yards and 48 touchdowns, which at the time was an obscene number. It took 20 years for Peyton Manning to break the yardage record. For the touchdown record, and 27 years for Drew Brees to break the yardage record. That is how historic the numbers were. Obviously, the Dolphins the year before had gone 12-4. This season they went all the way to the Super Bowl and they took on the 49ers. And in what was an epic game, the Niners turned it on and won 38-16. And this is the Dolphins' last Super Bowl appearance. Dan Marino never made it back after his second season, which should be a concern for Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to pretend I've read all of the notes, because of course I haven't. But when he was asked to name the best team to lose a Super Bowl, this is where Gary went, because this team should have won everything going before and after the Super Bowl. They should have won it the year before. They should have won it the year after. Dan Marino was generational. We talk now about Herbert and Burrow and Allen. You cannot fathom how different Dan Marino was when he turned up and just threw 48 touchdowns. And everyone was like, what?
It's the old message, isn't it, in that Dan Marino is the best quarterback not to win a Super Bowl.
I think also the year he was drafted, there was so many good quarterbacks drafted that year. Because it wasn't just him. There was Elway, Kelly, Ken O'Brien.
But yeah,
great of the game.
That's Gary's selection, the 84 Dolphins. And I think it's
a strong
It's a very strong start. Who would like to jump in?
I'll go next.
Paul,
so,
the floor is yours.
I'd like to take you to 1992.
Okay.
You were worried there.
I'm worried.
My mum's just discovered McCain chips.
I've only done one tea.
The first time ever.
So, 1992, yeah. I've got my McCain microwave chips.
Exactly.
I'm sitting in front of the telly watching Going Live. Yeah.
And you've got the taste of Finder's crispy pancake on your mouth, right?
No one tastes those things. You just taste them burn.
Yeah. The inside of your mouth is scorched to hell. You calm it down with some umbongo. They make it in the Congo, apparently. I watched the advert. The rhino took the apple, the passion fruit, and the mango. Anyway,
I'm going to do it in the voice.
Story for another day. So it's 1992. You've just watched Gladiators. Awooga.
Awooga indeed.
Awooga.
Indeed.
For me,
John Anderson.
You can have your great teams. I like a great story, and that's what makes the NFL for me. It's stories. So imagine the year before you lost the Super Bowl. You've lost it by a point. You've lost it because of the kick heard around the world. Now imagine you drag your way through and you get into the wild card. And in that wild card at half time, you're 30 points down.
Yeah.
Imagine dragging yourself through it. Your generational quarterback, the guy who you're running the K-gun offense through. You've revolutionized the no-huddle offense with this guy.
Ken O'Brien.
That's right, Ken O'Brien.
Jim Kelly.
Exactly, Jim Kelly. And you had to bring in Frank Reich.
Frank Reich, the third Reich.
No, the second string Reich.
Not in the current climate. We're not going to do that joke anymore.
Why are they playing Elon Musk in quarterback?
I was going to say that joke had a musk to it.
Oh.
But imagine you're in the wild card and you've had that season before. You've got to the playoffs. You've made it to the playoffs, and you're 30 points down at half time.
This is a lot for me to imagine. When I'm only 9 years old.
So they've made it through.
Yeah.
They've won. They've got that. Literally, the comeback on Wikipedia is that game.
Yeah.
You've then beat the Dolphins in the championship, the team who should have won everything.
Yeah.
And then you get to the Super Bowl. You're playing the Dallas Cowboys, and they fucking crush you. You've gone through all of these amazing things. You've lost the Super Bowl by a shitty margin when everybody thought you'd win. You've crawled your way through. You've used up all your luck on the way there, and you get crushed. For me, that's the story I want. I want it to feel like everything was going right for you to then lose. I was originally going to put in the Denver Broncos and the ball flying over Peyton Manning's head on the first play of the game. Not for me. Bump that. I want trauma, and I want Buffalo trauma, and I don't want obvious Buffalo trauma. I'm in a Buffalo stance.
Trauma.
So I'm going for the 1992 Buffalo Bills.
It's a great shout. I really like it. This is going to be a difficult one. Who wants to go next?
Do you want to go next, Jim?
I think you've led into that beautifully.
I absolutely have, because contrary to popular opinion, the ball flying over Peyton Manning's head was one of the best moments of Super Bowl, and one we'll never forget. But this 2013 Denver Broncos team was phenomenal.
Yes.
They set record after record. You mentioned Dan Marino's record of
48 touchdowns.
48 touchdowns.
Peyton got 50, didn't he?
Peyton Manning got 55.
55 touchdowns. That is fucking insane.
That's
This was a man who apparently couldn't throw anymore.
Well, and that's the story element of it. Remembering that.
Do you like a story?
I like a story.
Take me back to 2013.
2013. It's Peyton Manning's second season with the Denver
Wait a second.
Broncos.
What am I eating? What am I watching on the television? This is important.
Repeats of the bill.
Probably porn. Pornhub's around at this point.
Yeah, streaming had come in. Yeah,
absolutely. Peyton Manning's second season with the Broncos, he's been,
It's the peak of Top Gear
exactly,
at this point.
Yeah. The Colts have decided he's passed it and have moved on to Andrew Luck, and he's come back and absolutely turned this franchise around. They are dominant throughout the whole season. Their wide receiver core, Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker, Wes Welker, take some beating. Hall of Good finalist, entry, Julius Thomas at tight end, 65 catches, 788 yards and 12 touchdowns on that season. And led by a running back, he had 1,038 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns. None other than No Sean Marino.
How dare you? who was his backup?
The Super Bowl winning 1,000-yard rusher.
Cortrell Javius Anderson, yes.
Peyton Manning incidentally had 5,477 yards that season, 55 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Absolutely phenomenal stats. A great playoff run, beat the Chargers, beat the Patriots led by Tom Brady, get to the Super Bowl where they're facing the Seahawks, the Legion of Boom, and they absolutely shat the bed.
Oh, we got the phrase in.
Yes, they did.
They really did.
It's one of the most lopsided Super Bowls ever. They didn't just lose; they were the best losers, 43-8. First play of the game, snap over Peyton Manning's head led to a safety, 2-0 Seattle straight off the bat. This Seattle defense dominated, 4 turnovers, 5 sacks, 2 interceptions. Malcolm Smith, one of the few defensive players to be an MVP because Peyton Manning didn't do it, but. What a team, and should have won the Super Bowl because that was phenomenal. God. They did win it 2 years later, of course, but led by defense.
That is a beautiful shout. That's a beautiful shout. John, the final story rests with you.
It's the year 2000. We've survived the Millennium Bug. I'm eating cheese strings and Sunny Delight.
I'm there. I'm mentally there now.
were all watching Gladiator on our new DVD players.
Blu-ray players.
No, it's 2000. Blu-ray's not here yet.
I'm riding past you on my moped, flipping you off. Exactly.
Some of us have just got a driving license. It's a beautiful time to be alive. Especially because we could have died on the Millennium, but
we left school that year, did we not?
We did. Well,
I did.
You did. I went to sixth form. But
I was there for another 5 years.
The 1999 season, this team isn't the best because the team they played in the Super Bowl was the best. But the Tennessee Titans that year lost to the greatest show on turf. It's notable because they came 1 inch away from getting a result. So Kevin Dyson in the final play was tackled a yard short. It's the closeness to glory that I love. They were a yard away. They weren't the best team, but they were gritty. They ran hard. They had the defense suffocated teams. They had Air McNair. It was great as well. On the way to the playoffs, Music City Miracle, where there was a lateral pass, which the refs looked at. It was legal, and 75 yards, it was just beautiful. I love sort of broken-hearted, being so close to glory,
The pain.
and that's what's feeling. They aren't the Dolphins and the Broncos were a shat all over them, but it didn't matter. They did what they need. They beat they beat Jacksonville on the way. A good Jacksonville team.
There was a good Jacksonville.
Just about.
Saxonville.
No. Who else? They beat Peyton Manning's Colts on the way. They were
And also, you forget they had the defensive rookie of the year, Javon Curse, who was an absolute monster in defense.
Yeah, they were brilliant. Eddie George as the running back, brilliant player. They had things, but it's those moments and the better teams that have been mentioned. None of the moment will ever be as memorable as Dyson reaching out as he's held back and doesn't make it.
Sorry. The snap over Peyton Manning's head.
Oh, it's big, but
No,
that's
I
how
do-
the game
I-
starts. This is how it ends, and that's heartbreaking. And that was professional sport in a nutshell. That's what it should be, and that's why I've picked the Tennessee Titans.
Can I just point out two things before you make your judgment? One, I've gone for the most recent team out of all of us.
Which is an unheard of.
Absolutely unheard of. And the second one, none of us have played to the judge and selected the 16-0 Patriots.
I had already written down in my phone, if anyone picks the 16-0 Patriots, they win automatically. None of you did. Well done.
Well, because it seemed too obvious.
Yeah.
And if also, as a Giants fan,
I thought one of you two would have it.
it
I
felt
thought
like,
Gary would pick it because it's the easiest one to look up without being here.
But
So,
before you make your selection,
yeah.
could I just say, mine's best.
I'm going to try and get Gary on side here by mentioning that the Tennessee Titans were coached by Jeff Fisher.
John, yours is the most heartbreaking, crushing loss because of it being so close. Because they genuinely were within an arm's length of being a winner, but they weren't the best team to lose a Super Bowl, and that was the thing we were looking for, the best team. If they'd have been put up against some of these other teams, I don't think they stood a chance. Gary, your team is out on the basis that they had the best quarterback of that era, but they weren't the best team to lose the Super Bowl. They just had the best quarterback. So that leaves Paul and Jim, and these were two of the games that I looked up.
But I think you looked up the year before for the Bills I chose.
I looked up all the Bills 4 in a row
All four of them.
because I wanted one of those to be in. Again, crushing because of what they'd overcome. But there is no doubt that the snap over Peyton's head was the downfall of the greatest team never to win the Super Bowl. That Broncos team was undeniably the best team beyond the 16-0 Patriots. And if those two had faced off, the Broncos would have won. They were the best team to never win the Super Bowl. So, Jim, you win.
Quite surprised I won that one.
No, you win. That was on my shortlist, as was Paul's. I had the year before as well, 91 and 92. Like I say, the Patriots and yours, they were my top four. But undoubtedly, that Broncos team would face any of those other teams that have been mentioned and have beaten them all. They just muffed that game. It should be pointed out that Seahawks team was disgusting. I mean,
fucking hated them at the time.
but they were incredible.
That defense was phenomenal.
But that offense, that team that year, that Broncos team, phenomenal.
You remember the fancy numbers that team put up? It was
just
nuts.
Absolutely bonkers.
Absolutely nuts.
Yeah. No Sean Moreno. He never gets a shout, does he?
Always focus on CJ Anderson.
Did no Sean Moreno not leave the NFL because he was a raging alcoholic? I believe so. I really feel I should caveat that with I need to look it up, but I think he had a problem.
I can hear allegedly.
Allegedly. But I believe that's why he just disappeared.
Just looking into it.
Oh, now I've said it out loud and I feel like I'm thinking of Monty Ball. One of them, anyway. Silence on a podcast is never good.
I know, but it doesn't actually say.
Oh, well, he just randomly disappeared pretty quickly. So, anyway, yes, Jim, I am fully on board with that.
He just went to the Dolphins and tore his ACL.
Okay, fine. Maybe I'm thinking of Monty
He
Ball.
did go to the Dolphins, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he was like another one of those picks in fantasy where like, oh, him and the Dolphins, that'd be great. And then fuck all happened. I feel like I speak from personal experience.
Where else do we need to go this evening, gentlemen? What else is left?
I think that's it. Isn't it?
I think that's it. I think, I think we can retire to get excited, try and find some excitement for the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it'll be good when it's on.
I'll fucking love it. It's great.
It was Monty Ball. I debt of respect to no Sean Moreno. Sorry.
But in terms of the Super Bowl, there's one important question which you haven't answered, John. And I think we all need to know, how is this going to affect Jake Bobo's legacy?
Well, he's gonna come out of this.
Oh, I know what I want to know. Who's having prop bets? Ooh. Anyone? Because I don't do betting, but you guys sometimes put on silly bets.
I'm that disinterested by the Super Bowl.
I only put on silly bets with you guys, and to be fair, mine haven't actually been that silly this year.
No, there's got to be some.
I've seen a couple. Mahomes over 6 rushing attempts. He's got pretty.
Yeah.
That doesn't excite me.
So okay, can we go over under?
Yeah.
On what's the over under on roughing the passer calls on Mahomes?
3.
Okay, 3 being
three being the line.
Probably on 2.5.
Okay, well 2.5 then. I'm going to say there's at least 3 because I'm
going to go under.
Oh no, I think Fangio's going for it.
I'm also going to go under because I think there's been that much pressure on the refs about this.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a response.
I can see there being loads of PI though.
Yes. Yeah.
I think they'll be roughing the passer because I think Fangio knows they're going to give it anyway, so he'll go for it.
How many tush pushes?
2.
I had 2 as well.
Yeah, 2.
I'm going
to go 5.
Sorry, I'm going to quantify that. Total tush pushes over under 4.5. This is anyone on the pitch.
Over. Yeah, they're a 4-down team.
Yeah.
They'll take the push.
Yeah, over.
I also think from second down when they're 2 yards out, they go for it, don't they?
Yeah.
Saquon touchdowns rushing over under 2.5.
Under. I think 2 would have been.
This Chiefs
if it's
defense.
over, he's MVP.
Yeah.
And the Eagles winning.
I think even with 2, I think he could be MVP if the Eagles win.
But yeah, I'm going under.
So the other thing I've seen as a bet, not as an over or under, is Travis Kelce proposing to Taylor Swift when they win.
Shut your dirty mouth.
I've seen a lot of bets on it
dare you
though.
bring
There's
that
a
up?
lot of bets on that for that as well.
What a load of rubbish. It's not even real. They're just doing it for publicity.
Okay.
What colour's the Gatorade going to be?
Purple.
Green.
I bet Goodell would have an erection you could hang towels off. if Kelsey proposed to her at the end of the game after a win.
Add on to one. Kelsey retires at the end of the game.
No, I
With
don't
a
think-
win.
I think he's already said he's coming back.
Really?
Really?
Whether I believe him, but this is what he's been saying this week in Radio Row. But yeah,
Who does Jason Kelsey support in the match? What kind of shirt does he wear?
His wife's already said she's wearing Philadelphia. She's not changing.
I think they'll be Eagles fans.
Yeah, I think they will be as well.
I think they will be.
Maybe he'll do the half and half Donna Kelsey.
No, that shouldn't be allowed.
the
Total point spread for the game, over or under 56.
Oh,
Over.
far less.
Far less.
I'll go
Yeah. This has a 2017 all over
over.
to
No,
it.
I'm thinking
30, 33.
30.
Yeah, I'm going over. See, it's a good one when you don't know the answer. John?
I'm going to go under, but not by much. Yeah, I'm just looking at the prop bets.
This game just stinks of like a 21-17 or
No, I think this is
13-3.
this. Yeah,
Greatest
this
Super Bowl in history.
I think this is more.
just for Brandon
Eagle
Cooks, who's still there.
His soul still trapped in the stadium.
One day it will leave Glendale.
I tell you what, if someone gets hit like that in the game, that's going to be the biggest cheer from our table.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, that was such a good hit. Anything else from you, John?
Quarterback to catch a pass.
No.
Wouldn't it be awesome if they pulled out the Philly special? But no. I'm saying no.
I think no, but yeah, it's one of the. Sorry, my stomach rumble there. Well, that's one of the
Rumble? It practically got up and ran around the room.
Yodeling.
That was a warning shot, wasn't it?
Nope. But I do think we should finish this podcast quite quickly.
I'll go and get the candles.
So let's keep doing over and under.
Over and under, John making it to the bathroom in the next 3 minutes.
Sadly, under. Yeah.
The podcast being hosted at my house. Over.
Oh, your downstairs toilet lasts in the night.
Remember, I live here.
Jalen Hurts over 200 yards per passing.
Oh, under.
Yeah, I'm going to say under.
I'd take the over on that.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder how many times this season he's gone over 200 yards passing.
But
Not many.
if
And
they're
he averages 199.8.
but if they're gonna try and stop Saquon and force him to throw,
Then if he does that again, the Eagles win.
Interception yards count.
No. No. But, yeah. How many rushing touchdowns does Jalen Hurts have this year?
2?
12.
18.
Rushing.
Yeah,
Rushing.
because the
What?
The tush push
Of
count.
course.
Tush
Yeah. Sorry. Right.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, some prop bets on him scoring some rushing touchdowns.
Again, it
Absolutely,
will.
yeah.
It definitely will happen. It's going
As
to.
soon as they're within 5 yards of the touchdown.
Yeah.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
Wrap us up, John.
Enjoy the game. We'll see you next week.
Go Eagles!
At some point.
Yeah, at some point. And
From an undisclosed location so far.
and day.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we'll come back and then we get to have some weeks off. It'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
you can bet on who's going to leave the game and not return due to a concussion. You can bet if Andy Reid will be doused in barbecue sauce after the game.
That's a hog roast. What the fuck?
You can do an over-under on the number of beers sold in the stadium.
Jesus Christ.
Is there an over under figure?
Yeah. 120,000.
Wow.
There's 76,000 seats in the Superdome.
Oh, I'll take the over all day.
Well, it's Americans, but yeah, I'll take the over still.
I need to know more information. How much is a pint?
Hang on, are we saying sold or drunk?
Sold.
No, sold. So don't include corporate boxes.
So who will the Super Bowl MVP thank first?
Oh God.
God, yeah.
Teammates, coach, family, God, owner.
God.
Yeah. I love this. Of course, there's the over-under on the anthem, isn't there, every year?
Oh, yeah, how long it is.
Too long is the answer.
Yeah. I think it's been
Always.
over the last few years.
Over under, how long into the halftime show before I go, who the fuck is this guy? Watches his craps off.
It's about 20 seconds.
6 seconds. It's one of the good things about me not being there to watch the game with you is I don't have to explain who fucking Kendrick Lamar is.
No, we're going to be texting you.
Yeah.
Hey, John, who's this fella on the telly?
It's 50,000 to 1 odds that the Super Bowl coin toss will land on its side and be neither heads or tails.
I would take those odds.
So you're betting at the moment, Abel?
If someone offers you those figures, you take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, it will be. So, Post Malone is doing a tailgate party.
What's a Post Malone?
He's he was a rapper, now he's a country star.
Older brother of Pre Malone.
Yeah. And John Batiste.
Malone? That was a good film. But
John Batiste.
No, current Malone is who we're talking about now.
Yeah. John Batiste will perform the anthem. So
Did he play for Arsenal?
no, that was something Baptist, wasn't it?
hang on, is he not the clairvoyant fella that uses the word nonce?
Clinton Baptist.
No, it's
Knowledge of Baptist is brilliant.
it's John the Baptist.
John the Baptist.
Sure,
Who
you
is
call anyone like nonce.
2025 years old, and so I'm going under because I don't think he's got the breath for it.
I mean, I know the NFL's got a lot of money, but reanimating the
John
corpses
the
of holy men, it's too far for me.
But yeah, anyway, whatever you're doing for the Super Bowl, we hope you have enjoy it. We'll come back and talk about it next week, and and then we can all be really sad that the season's over and we have to do something else on our Sundays, like talk to our families.
Shagging.
What?
Still recording.
Goodbye.